Greetings and welcome to episode 191 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander, and I am joined this week by the one and only glorious one, Mr. Moody.
I better stop because I have a bad voice. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Toss a coin for you, Witcher. Toss a coin for Britain's ass. Henry Cavill, the handsomest man on the planet. Already on production, doing season 2 of The Witcher. God bless that man.
I thought I was going to take a drink. I thought there was more. I can take a drink here. It's fine.
He's the Superman we all wanted. It's just the world didn't realize they needed it yet.
Which is very true.
And then America screwed him over.
So he was the Witcher instead, and the world is better off.
Yes, that is true.
So I was recovering from a cold from last. I lost my voice for a couple of days last week. It was a bit touch and go whether I was going to get him back today.
Oh.
And you're not feeling too well either.
No, yeah, I have a chest infection, yes. So,
yeah, this podcast is it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Yeah, there's going to be snuts, coughing, the whole shebang, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're ready for this.
Someone's going to lose their voice, like halfway through.
I might actually keel over.
Yeah, Moody's going to collapse. I won't be able to talk. It's going to be good. It's going to be fine.
Yep.
20-minute podcast.
I'm just going to randomly mute myself while I cough to death.
Nobody call an ambulance. This is pre-recorded. I've already called an ambulance. In fact, where's my phone? There's my phone. I'll just
better be on the safe side.
Just going to put my phone here, just in case. For those that don't know, here on the Words About Gamescast, we discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and games culture over the past 7 days. My hair won't stay in one place. This week, we discuss a bevy of game leaks about Resident Evil 8, Silent Hill, and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. We're also discussing the ESA looking to shake things up for E3 2020, Nintendo Switch probably outselling Xbox One, and maybe more. Timestamps are in the description below the video, so you can watch in any order you want. No one's messaged me about watching the podcast backwards. It's like, I'm starting to think people just skip over the intro. Like, because they know the timestamps are there and they just go, I just want to get straight to it. I don't want to know how these people are. Like, I don't care about these people. True. Like, I just want to get to the discussions. Maybe one day I'll just not have the timestamps in.
Maybe, that might be.
See what happens.
And then the people will complain that, wait, where the hell?
So the bunch of timestamps. I can't watch the podcast backwards. And then I'll be like, aha! I knew it.
We got you.
Got you now, sucker. I tell you what's not on this list. The Final Fantasy VII trailer. That's
a sexy ass
fucking good trailer. I love that trailer.
You want to be honest with one thing? I was expecting them to delay it again. We delayed it an extra week.
3 minute 50-second trailer, and then at the end it's just like coming out September 12th, 2020. It's just like, hang on a minute.
Hey, did you just delay it again?
Wait a minute. That's not the date you said it was last time. But yeah, that was a cool ass fucking trailer. They're definitely doing the cross-dressing scene from the original game.
They're doing it right. They're doing it respectful. So...
Hey, it looked fabulous.
Yeah. Oh, made me crush on Cloud. What the hell?
Hell yeah. Cloud is already quite a nice looking...
He has the features for it.
He has the features for it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm going to cough now. I don't know if I successfully muted myself there or not.
Well, I didn't hear anything.
Okay, that's good. This microphone's mute button is very, very inconsistent.
Sensitive?
Inconsistent. No, it's actually the opposite. I can push it a bunch of times and it won't do anything. It's how like
And I probably didn't hear anything, but your video recorder probably still recorded it.
nah. That's why like when I was on your podcast that one time, I was silent for a bit because I was talking, thinking I've hit the mute button, so it's fine. I'll be talking, and then you're just like, Amy, oh fuck, it's still flashing red. Let's get into it and get out here as quickly as possible, for the sake of our voices.
The odds are very even to see which one of us survives, ladies and gentlemen. The only way to find out is to watch till the end.
You're gonna have to watch till the end of the podcast to see if we're both still here.
Mm-hmm.
I've just replaced you with like, I'll put a like. I've got a...
Just put a random sticker on me.
No, it's fine. I'll just reply, what do you think, Mr. Moody? Well... Good point. Let's get into it.
Smartest I've ever sounded.
Smartest I've ever sounded. Sounds like Capcom will stick to first person for Resident Evil 8. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Capcom's unannounced but inevitable Resident Evil 8 will retain the first-person gameplay of predecessor Resident Evil 7, according to a new report on the project from fansite Biohazard Cast via the YouTube channel Residents of Evil. Those are two awesome names for Resident Evil things.
Residents of Evil.
Residents of Evil. It's great. Love it.
You think they've trademarked that so Capcom can't get it?
I don't know. Should we check?
Or they've just done it and they're waiting for Capcom to try and buy them. We just want your name. We don't want your channel.
Should we just trademark it ourselves if they haven't trademarked it?
Yes.
And then we'll start a podcast. Get Fixer involved. It also tallies with what Eurogamer has heard independently of the game from sources close to publisher Capcom. Resi 7's first-person viewpoint being kept in Resi 8 is something of a surprise several years after the former's oddball virtual reality origins. The shift to first-person was a huge departure for the series, and one which Capcom has steered clear of implementing in its recent Resident Evil remakes. But it also makes sense as a way to clearly delineate the two series branches Capcom is currently developing, as remakes such as Resi 2 and 3 revive the series' origins for nostalgic fans, while 7 and 8 offer a more experimental future. The above report in Resi 8 also mentions the return of Resi 7 protagonist Ethan and classic Resi character Chris Redfield, neither of which will be a surprise to fans. It also suggests we'll see werewolf-like enemies, proper zombies, and a female apparition who chases you through castle and village environments. When contacted for this story, Capcom told Eurogamer it did not comment on rumours and speculation. A lot of leaks this week, Mr. Moody. So I decided to start with the Resident Evil one.
Because we are both
the
main Resident Evil fans.
We are the biggest.
Anyone else who knows Resident Evil better than us?
No, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who I've ever worked with in the past who knows anything much about Resident Evil. Like maybe you heard the name before, but
yeah, McPhister, innit?
Yeah. I think he mentioned something about like I think he played Resident Evil 6. I think for like half.
Yeah, I think that's his favorite game. Or 4. I think it's Resident 4 actually. I think that's his favorite.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 4 is his favorite. Followed by 6, and then I heard he really liked Umbrella Corps.
Yep.
As well.
And 5. I think he loves 5.
He loves 5.
Yeah. Doesn't care for 1, 2, and 3 very well.
No, especially 2. Like I've heard he hates 2. Anyway, we should probably stop now. What do you think about Resident Evil 8? These Resident Evil 8 rumors?
If this is true, this is not surprising. I didn't think one of the main elements for Resi 7 that worked so well for people was VR. People loved the VR version of it. I don't think I ever really heard a really bad thing about it.
I played it in VR from start to finish. I only took the headset off briefly during the part with all the bugs, because bugs are a thing I can't do.
That's understandable, yeah.
So I took the headset off, finished that part, put the headset back on. It was so good in VR. I'm so glad I played it like that. Yeah, I don't know whether it didn't say whether this one's going to be in VR or not, but like it says, it's a big, keeping the first person viewpoint is something of a surprise. Like I didn't think so. I didn't think they were going to do anything other than
I honestly thought they were going to say I thought they were going to stay first person
Yeah.
for me. I'd be surprised. The only thing I'm a little surprised is that they maybe are offering both.
Yeah.
That you could do both styles if you wanted to and everything.
Oh,
So that'll please both fans of each style and everything like that, basically.
I think from a design standpoint, that will be really difficult to pull off.
The optimization, which is basically the main thing about games, like one of the things like what came up with Cyberpunk and everything like that, with what Corey Barloff was talking about with them, optimization would have been a pain in the ass to sort out. So I can understand them just doing first person again. So, but yeah, I think I'm intrigued to see what they're going to do. There's no doubt about it. I'm not surprised they're doing Ethan again, because basically with how it ended number 7, to what I know, Ethan has that virus in him. So I'm very intrigued to see what they're going to do with this one. Obviously, with the reveal of the new and improved version of Chris Redfield. Yes, I said it, Fixer. I said it. Hashtag my Chris Redfield.
Oh,
he's sexier and he's less musclier. That's even better. It's not surprising he's going to be in it. It's not surprising whatsoever. He's going to be in a big version of it, for me personally. And yeah, werewolf-like characters. That's basically going to be what the wolves versions of the hounds, basically.
Great. That's what I just what I needed in my first-person Resident Evil series. Fucking werewolves.
That's what we want. And there'll be obviously a big badass one to fight at the end.
Like an alpha.
Or somewhere in the middle. Yeah, proper alpha, which will look like a werewolf.
Which will just be a werewolf. It'll be someone talking, and then they just wolf out.
It'll be Hugh Jackman from Van Helsing.
What if it's Chris Redfield? What if Chris is the werewolf?
Oh, that could be sexy. That one, like. Bringing back proper zombies. That's what I think the main thing. What were people, or not the hardcore Resident Evil fans, were disappointed in Resident Evil 7, but I loved Resident Evil 7. I thought it was like for me. I don't know if it was the best game of that year, but it was one of my favorite games of that year, no doubt about it.
It was definitely on my list, but I think
I think it was 2 for you. I think it was 2, if I remember rightly.
Resident 7, no, it was lower than that. It was
no. When you did it when you were on Fix's podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Might be different on yours.
Xbox, because that was Xbox games.
Yeah.
I was just thinking then, it's probably right on, because it was like Persona. My top 3 was like Persona.
PlayStation games.
I think my top 5 was like Persona, Nier, Neo, Divinity, and Hellblade, and none of those games came out on Xbox. Because I remember he asked me to do the list, and I was like, well, fucking shit. Xbox didn't have a great year that year. You are definitely muted. There we go.
Even I pressed the button, it didn't even work.
Yep, this is what I'm saying.
Sensitive.
But yeah, no, it was definitely a top 10 game of the year for me. That was a fantastic year for games, like, as well as that being a fantastic game, and I had a lot of fun with it in VR. It was scary as fuck.
Yeah. The only with obviously first person again for me says always PlayStation have some probably your marketing rights with it. I can see this probably being revealed at a PlayStation event. I'm not saying it's going to be whenever PlayStation do their PlayStation 5 reveal or whatever, but I can see it being at a PlayStation event, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's typically been that, hasn't it? Like Resident Evil 2 is a PlayStation.
Resi 1, 2, 3 were all PlayStation.
Resi 7 was revealed at PlayStation G3. Kitchen, the demo kitchen, was on like PlayStation VR headsets.
Remake 2 was at PlayStation. So yeah, I can see it definitely being there with PlayStation on this.
Yeah. Do you think it could be a launch window title for whatever consoles it comes out on? Because the first way I was going to ask that question was, do you think it could be a launch title? And then I was like, maybe not. But do you think it could be out? It's essentially what I'm asking is in January 2021. Because if a separate team's been working on this to the remakes, then they've been working on it for a few years now.
It all depends, because obviously it doesn't go fully into this report, but we've also heard that when they started making this game pretty much right after 7, and then they postponed it because they went hardcore into 2, getting that finished, and then they went back to 8, and they've scrapped what they did with 8. So it's basically again completely remade again. So they're probably 6 months to maybe not even close to like 8 months behind with what they wanted to probably. I would say yes, they probably would have wanted to be January 2021, but I can see them possibly pushing this to maybe April 2021, like they're doing with 3. And yeah, I think it could be something like that. I think it could be the middle of 2021.
Yeah, I think 2021 is probably going to be a safer year to release a game. Like when you're talking like big games, because I think 2020 is very much going to be like an outlier in terms of like how many big games we're getting like all throughout the year. Whereas I think 2021 is probably going to be quieter, based
Right now, we
on
know.
nothing but my intuition.
Yeah, that's true. Like right now, we know but all about Ubisoft. So it's like, what are you doing,
All
Ubisoft?
right.
Oh, you're just delaying everything.
You
So
delayed
okay.
everything. All right, shit. I hope no one picked those Ubisoft games in the fantasy gaming leagues.
I picked one of them, but I don't. But it's not guaranteed
You
to come out yet.
you picked the one that's probably most likely to come out this year,
Yeah, yeah,
even though it was unannounced. I'm thinking of
yep.
somebody else who picked 2 Ubisoft games, and I was like, "Ooh, it's brave. It's brave. It's brave." Let's move on. We've got a bunch more game leaks to
Yes, we
go
do.
through. Next up, this one's near and dear to my heart. Report: Konami has 2 new Silent Hill games in development. This is from Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer, who writes, Konami is reportedly reviving the Silent Hill series with not 1, but 2 new installments. According to Twitter Aesthetic Gamer, who's accurately shared Capcom leaks in the past, publisher Konami reached out to developers a couple of years ago, inviting pitch ideas to bring the series to life once more. One game is thought to be a soft reboot of the franchise, whilst the other is rumoured to be an episodic adventure similar to Until Dawn. Then that paragraph pretty much just repeats what I just said, so I'll skip it. Quote, this is just a guess, but I'd say there's a high chance one or both of these titles may be revealed this year, but we'll see. I don't actually know their plans or anything about these games other than their existence, though. I don't know much about the inner workings of Konami, end quote. That was a quote from the leaker, Aesthetic Gamer. Horror specialist site Rely on Horror also reports it's heard from its own independent source that a Silent Hill project is in development. And then, Moody, should I read these next 2 paragraphs? Because it gets into some major sort of, this is a reach in terms of connecting the dots. So I'll read the update. Konami has commented on the report to state it is looking at a continuation of the Silent Hill series. Quote, we cannot share anything at this point, a Konami spokesperson told Eurogamer, but we are listening to consumer feedback and considering ways to provide the next title. End quote. You're a fan of Silent Hill?
I enjoyed 2. 2 I thought was brilliant.
2 is one of my favourite games of all time.
Do we trust Konami?
No, not at all. There was a podcast we did a few years ago. I missed it because I was ill, but I always remember it because like one of the things that they were talking about was like dormant game series they want to see come back, and it was Keith, I think, he was hosting the podcast, and he messaged me and he was like, "Oh, like so I guess you would like do you want to say any game series like that you want to see come back?" And I gave him a few just so he could like talk about them on the podcast while I wasn't there. And he was like, "What? Not Silent Hill?" And I was like, "I don't want Konami anywhere near Silent Hill." And this was before Metal Gear Survive came out. Because you're right, I don't trust them. Like, it's dicey because it's like I love Silent Hill. I would love another Silent Hill, but I'm very skeptical of anything that comes out of Konami because they haven't made any good games for a long time.
They got rid of their biggest creative person.
Well, they also got rid of the guy who made Castlevania, and he went off and made Bloodstained. Fantastic game. Kojima, they got rid of him. He went off and made Death Stranding. It's definitely a good game.
Did you struggle to say that?
I was struggling to think of the right adjective to use there, but like since then, it's like Konami have crapped out like loads of Shadow 2, a bunch of ports and remasters, and Metal Gear Survive, like and Pro Evolution Soccer. Don't know, like anything about that. But yeah, I don't know if I trust them. but I want this to be good so badly. Because Silent Hill deserves to be good again.
All games deserve to be good. Doesn't mean they're gonna be, sadly. Basically, with the updates they put out, they basically, for me, kind of confirmed, yes, we are doing this. This is happening. We're just not ready to talk about it yet, so that makes me say they'll probably wait until E3, probably the Microsoft stage or something like that. No trust in Konami. Very intrigued to see who they have got. Who I don't think any of the big ones are going to want to touch them at all.
No, I don't think unless someone like Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony have gotten involved to grab an exclusive Silent Hill game. Like, I don't see an EA or an Activision or someone like that like jumping in to do a Silent Hill, but maybe a platform holder might be looking for a launch title or a launch window title for their new consoles.
It could be, yeah. There's no doubt. Like, Microsoft does scream out they do need titles and everything. So
I've been saying it for years. Like, if Microsoft just dumped a bunch of money at Konami Store and made like a Silent Hill game, like, and a Castlevania game, like rescued those Konami franchises, like it would do a lot. I think it would shift a lot of consoles and or Game Pass subscriptions. But yeah, I wonder if it's just like smaller AA indie developers, maybe. Like, could
that's
be
going to be
involved in
interesting.
this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like,
Very interesting.
Like, I'm especially excited because, like, you know, as part of the rumor, it's like, hey, maybe it'll be revealed this year. I hope so. I waited when I was watching the Twitch live stream of E3 last year. There was on the schedule there was a Konami, like Konami went down for a mysterious reveal in E3. So I was like, oh, this could be interesting because Pro Evolution Soccer was already on the schedule, so it wasn't going to be that. It was like, oh, we're going to reveal something and then talk about it. And I was like, oh, what could this be? This could be interesting. Like, I didn't get my hopes up at all, so it was funny as opposed to disappointing when they came out and they were like, here's a Turbo FX16 graphics mini console. It's like, Jesus Christ. Twitch chat
they got people there to sit down and watch them.
They did, but Twitch chat went fucking apeshit.
When does that not happen?
I mean, Twitch chat was already apeshit, but yeah, everybody was kind of like, boo, boo.
Hashtag fudge Konami.
Oh, yeah. Been a long time since I've used that hashtag.
Bring it back. And everything, so.
Just make good games again, Konami. It's not fucking rocket science.
Who knows?
Oh, please, God, let them be good. Please. Anyway, I think we can move on. Looking forward to seeing more about that in a later date. Next up, still talking about video games. EA has approved a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game, claims report. This is from Imogen Donovan over at Video Gamer, who writes, Electronic Arts has allegedly approved a Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game, and it's said to be in development as a reimagining of the series. In 2019, it was reported that the publisher had canned a Star Wars game from EA Vancouver, who was a replacement for the now non-existent Visceral Studios. This cancellation seemed to be a weakening in the partnership between EA and Disney that had already weathered lootbox controversies, delays, and technical hiccups. The company confirmed that the game had been put on ice with a statement issued last year. Quote, there's been speculation overnight about one of our Star Wars projects. As a natural part of the creative process, the great work by our team in Vancouver continues and will evolve into future Star Wars content and games, said an EA spokesperson. We're fully committed to making more Star Wars games. We're very excited about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, and we'll share more about our new projects when the time is right. End quote. Now it seems that EA has lost the element of surprise as a new report claims that there is a new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game in the mix. Two separate sources have alleged that the game is a reimagining of the series, and one that would integrate elements from the first two games in order to bring certain things into the current Star Wars canon. There's also talk of a Fallen Order sequel, and a Project Luminous video game currently in development in EA. BioWare was the developer behind the first Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic game, but isn't mentioned in the report. As BioWare's reportedly struggled to get another Knights of the Old Republic game off the ground more than once, it's possible that the publisher has asked one of its other studios to take charge on this reimagining. So you mentioned this last week. I said I wanted to save it for this week because we probably talk about it for longer than like 2 minutes. What are your thoughts? Let's talk Star Wars, movie. Let's talk Star
Star
Wars.
Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Um, this is great news. There's no doubt about it. Knights of the Old Republic is one of the best RPGs out there. There's no doubt about it. It's universally loved, basically. Um, People have been screaming for a new one, especially like since Disney bought the franchise and everything. All been thinking, is it going to happen? Are they going to remake it, do something, or something? So this is not surprising that EA, like I said in our the video that we did with our predictions for this year and everything. EA need a win. They want to win. So I think doing this type of thing is a win, as long as they obviously do put out a good product. That's obviously that'll be the ultimate win and everything, because we've just seen Jedi Fallen Order was reported this week has made a ton of money for them, more than what they expected it was going to be.
Something we never see. I just want to appreciate the fact that we'd never normally see, oh, this game has exceeded our sales expectations. Like, we never see that headline.
Yeah,
so I was happy to see that.
That was really good, and I was really happy with the team over there. The question now is it part of the Project Luminous thing that is all in production for Lucasfilm? That's the whole new High Republic thing that's sent up, I think, about 500 years before the Skywalker saga and everything. Is this going to be one of the games in it? Apparently, what starts Project Luminous is a video game that's apparently going to start the story. So I'm very fascinated by that. Is it this one? Is it something else that EA have got in production and everything? It's going to be very fascinating. But Old Republic, doing like Knights of the High Republic, yeah, that's easy to change the name. It's not going to be that hard to do that. It's going to be very fascinating to see what they do.
I mean, all you have to really do is put Star Wars on the box, right? And people will have that brand recognition immediately.
Well, Battlefield, sorry for butting in, Battlefront 1 and 2, universally, critically mixed and audience mixed, have all sold brilliantly. That's the thing about it. We can't deny that.
No, not at all. I think Star Wars games in general are just selling really well because people want them. And Star Wars is one of the biggest things in the world. So, like, you put Star Wars on something, and, there's not reports of, like, being absolutely atrociously fucked, like Anthem. And, like, people are going to buy it. But, yeah, like, I'm fascinated by this because, like, from a game perspective, because I want a cool Star Wars game, like Old Republic, Jedi 2, like, whatever. But, like, from, like, a higher perspective, because obviously I know that they want everything Star Wars that comes out is canon. Like, they don't want to have an expanded universe of all these books where fucking weird shit happens, like, all over the place. So, like, I guess EA, in terms of, like, the stories for these things and, like, what happens in them, they have to be careful-ish, or they have to, like, they have to, like,
you have to get approval from Lucasfilm.
From Lucasfilm. So it is fascinating that it's like, this is back on the table, and it's going to be canon. And yeah, it makes sense that it would be a reboot as well, because obviously, like, the first two games aren't in the Star Wars canon, but if you want to bring anything from those games into canon, it would make sense to just reboot it and bring the things that you want and put them in the game. I didn't know that stuff about Project Luminous, though, so that was new to me.
Yeah, that's a whole thing that if they're doing it right, it's their storyboarding it out, planning it out like what the MCU does. It's been like, obviously, that's the main thing that a lot of people have complained about with the sequel trilogy. So hopefully they're doing it right now. So it's like I said, but I'm very fascinated that apparently the first thing's going to be a game. So I'm fascinated by that.
I wonder who's going to develop it. Like, that's my question. Because BioWare are making Dragon Age 4 and still working on Anthem. It's been a while since anyone's mentioned Anthem.
And apparently also doing a Mass Effect.
Supposedly, yeah. Like, it's like
they're doing a lot of things.
I don't think they have space to make a Star Wars game, and honestly, I'm kind of okay with that. Like, if you told me 5 years ago, like, that there was going to be a Knights of the Old Republic reboot and BioWare weren't working on it, I would have burned your house down. But,
yeah, that's true.
But now it's like, I'm actually okay with that. Like, But then I think who could be making it? Because DICE probably aren't going to be making anything other than first-person shooters. Respawn are busy making Apex Legends, making Jedi 2, because that's obviously a thing. And hopefully making some Titanfall.
No one likes that.
Fuck you. And I'm going to burn your house down. So you got that. BioWare's busy. Yeah. No, don't come and burn it. Unlike most of the people who are threatened with that, you don't live far away. I could actually make it to your house.
Yeah, but you don't exactly know where I live.
Oh, I'll just stop burning. If you start seeing
He's going to start burning houses.
If you start seeing fires nearby, run. I'm getting closer. I just want to put it out there for the record in case someone burns a house down here, Mr. Moody. I'm joking. This isn't a confession. I don't burn people's houses down. Unless it's Mr. Moody's. I'm struggling to remember. Basically, I'm struggling to remember what studios EA actually has at their disposal who could do this. Because I know there's sports studios, they're making sports games. BioWare's busy. Respawn's busy. The guys who make The Sims probably aren't making this. DICE is probably making a new Battlefront and or Battlefield game. Who else is left? Vancouver?
Well, if I remember rightly, don't BioWare have two studios?
So there's the main one in Canada.
And they closed it after all the Andromeda debacle.
Yeah, Montreal closed, and they brought everyone over to Edmonton, which is the main one, which is probably working on Dragon Age. And they got a studio in Austin that does the Old Republic, the MMO. They're like the online studio.
That could be them.
I feel like they'll probably be working Anthem though, because you got to tie this into the reports from last year that they're looking to relaunch Anthem.
That's true
as well. So that's probably why we haven't heard very much about the future of Anthem right now, because I imagine there's a team either in Austin or in Edmonton who are working on that relaunch.
Yeah, true.
I'm just looking it up. Let's have a look. Electronic Arts Development Studios. Wow. I was just actually about to say, holy shit. The thing skipped down the page is like a fucking graveyard. Mythic Entertainment, remember them? Pandemic, Playerfish, Visceral, Westwood. Whew. Let's have a look. Let's have a look through it. Okay, so BioWare in Edmonton, sure. BioWare in Austin, yep. Criterion Games. This is the first one that jumps out at me. Based in
what have they made again?
They were the driving game guys. So Burnout.
I doubt they're doing it.
Pod racing game will be cool. DICE, EA Mobile, EA Montreal. Let's have a look at that. I'm just going to open some tabs. It could be EA Vancouver, because if their game has been folded into this new game.
Yeah, they've got a lot of studios.
It's not PopCap, obviously, but you know who I'm forgetting? Their new studio that has not released a game since it was.
But hasn't that just been made?
Motive Studios was founded in July 2015 by Jade Raymond, a former Ubisoft executive and Assassin's Creed producer. Their first announced project is to work with Redwood Shores-based Visceral Games, awkward, on an upcoming Star Wars video game.
So that's them. It's got to be them.
Electronic Arts announced in January 2017 that they hired Kim Swift as design director within Motive. She created Portal.
Yeah, it's got to be them. They're probably going to announce it this year.
Definitely.
I think EA at E3 or just off E3 is going to be a big year for them this year.
Yes.
I think they're going to push out a lot of things.
I don't think they'll be doing what they did last year and the year before.
I agree. I think the last thing they'll show is probably a relaunch of Anthem.
Maybe. I think they'll do a full-on presentation. Yeah.
And like I said, just to do the one thing I told you, I predicted a Mass Effect remake trilogy, the whole shebang. Like I said, please, I want those points. I want to be back on in January in 2021 and saying I won and I'm the best.
I am the best. So. I am so smart. I am so smart. It's Marty. I mean, that's Marty. Gotta love a good Simpsons quote. So it's probably Motive. Yeah. I'm glad I took that little deep dive. because I completely forgot Motive.
EA.
I completely
the
forgot Motive
graveyard of
Studios,
game
and then underneath it's like, oh my god, so many like recognizable classic game developer names in this list underneath that just says former, like Westwood
Former,
Studios,
former developer.
yeah, former. Speaking of E3, let's jump into the next topic because you gave me a nice little segue there, and I'm fascinated to hear your thoughts on this. E3 2020 organisers look to shake things up amid flagging industry attendance. This is from Charlie Hall over at Polygon, who writes, with a list of big name participants in the E3 convention dwindling, the Electronic Software Association said Thursday in a news release that it is committed to keeping E3 at the level you've come to expect. The solution, it says, is to shake things up with surprise guests, amazing stage experience, access to insiders, and experimental zones. The statement mirrors a plan that leaked out in September 2019 to recast the industry event as a fan, media, and influencer festival. The ESA, which includes members such as Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, Bungie, Electronic Arts, Epic Games, Microsoft, Sony, PlayStation, Ubisoft, and Wizards of the Coast, has been sent reeling in the past year following several major public relations disasters. Most notable was the release of the personal information of thousands of influencers and members of the international press who attended last year's E3. At the same time, it has been battling with legislators and the US Federal Trade Commission over the topic of loot boxes. This has all been taking place against a backdrop of continued pressure from the administration of President Donald Trump, which has persistently targeted video games as a contributing factor in school shootings. Fucking hell. When you say it all in one paragraph, it's like, Jesus. The E3 Expo itself has been a marquee event for the ESA since the convention's inception in 1995, bringing retail partners together, retail partners, industry executives, and the media for several days in Los Angeles. But attendance amongst developers and publishers has been flagging for the past several years, leading the ESA to open the event to the public in 2017. Thursday's announcement is a clear attempt to re-establish confidence among its industry partners while pivoting toward an even more public-facing event. Quote, we are well down the path on the development and production of a large, super fun floor experience that celebrates gaming culture in new exciting ways, said the ESA. We will be showcasing E3 to the world through new streaming and digital programming while creating gatherings on the show floor that let people do what they love most, play and celebrate games, end quote. The ESA also acknowledged last year's security breach, saying to the media that earning back your trust and support is our top priority, and adding that it had worked to shore up the security of registrants' personal data. Let's end it there. So what are your thoughts on the new E3 2020 and its super fun floor experience? Super fun, man. I love it when companies talk like that. It's going to be super fun.
It's like they're talking to the kids, isn't it? Wait, we're talking to you kids with your hats and all like that. So.
Well, it's like the meme, isn't it? How do you do, fellow children?
That's true. I'm not impressed. I won't lie.
No,
I'm not gonna lie there.
Okay.
It's just like Sony have left because they couldn't come to an agreement. Sony seemed like, to what I can tell, want to do more kind of like a PlayStation experience type of thing where it's for their fans and everything. Obviously, they don't want to do that E3. They want to try to do a mixture of both. I don't think, and I see why Sony are like, you can't do both. You're crossing lines and everything like that. It's just making it too much.
It's making it too confused, right? Like,
yeah.
And like, if E3 E3 is like more of a controlled experience. Of like, okay, so the people talking about the games coming out of E3 are press and, media people, but then it's also mixed in with like however many it is at E3, where it's like anyone can just go and play a game. How many public tickets are available for E3? That's not how you spell available. I'm just curious how many people actually went. In 2017, the ESA reserved 15,000. So it's like about 15,000, 20,000 people probably went to E3. So it's like, yeah, I get where PlayStation's coming from, and I totally cut you off there, and I apologize. You make
no, that's fine. The numbers are low though. They've been going down. I think what's hurting E3 is streaming and everything like that. Because how like you and me we can just watch them at home.
Yeah,
We
like
don't have to. Yeah.
I am more. I can do a better job of covering E3 from here than if I was in LA.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
and it's cheaper. That's how it all is. I think it's like our even though Microsoft are at E3, they are not at
oh,
E3.
they're
They're
down the road.
over in their own bloody place, doing their own bloody thing. They say they're here at E3 and everything like that, but they aren't. They're in their own place because they're saving money doing it that way. I think they need to refocus. The E3 needs to basically needs to make a decision. Do we want it for the fans, or do we want it for outlets so that people can come and push what they're going to be doing for the future and everything? That's what they need to make a decision. They can't have both.
No, like it's like PAX isn't both, right? Like Gamescom is, but Gamescom has hundreds of thousands of people like going to its show. Like that's how Gamescom gets to be both, because so many people go.
And apparently it's bigger though. Like Gamescom is like a huge giant.
Oh
like
fuck yeah! I looked at the because I was contemplating going last year before I decided to just go to EGX because the queues are apparently insane at Gamescom.
Yeah.
Yes, it's huge. I looked at the floor plan. It's much bigger than any other gaming convention in the world. In 2019, there were 370,000 people went to Gamescom. The number I had for E3 in 2017 was 68,000, and that includes all the press and industry and probably all the exhibitors as well. It's like that's how Gamescom gets away with being for both press and fans, because there's so many people there.
Yeah, it's just they need to do a lot of things here. For me, I would say go back to what you were like. Stream it, do the whole thing shebangs on like that and everything. And do something like that. I think you just need to go. Yeah, what's the saying? Oh, it's innovate or die, and you need to innovate. Go along. What's the trends right now? So the trends are streaming. Streaming's one of the biggest things out there. Do the whole thing. I think one of the best things that does what happens during E3 is what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy who does video game awards.
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley, yeah. The thing he does with E3, I think, is very good. It's very good. He gets people who people like onto the panels. Like he gets Angry Joe on there. He gets I can't remember her name from what's
Andrea.
What good games? Andrea Renee and other people and everything like that. He does that right. I think he gets a good mixture of industry people, but also fans. Like Angry Joe, he's an industry person, but he's a fan. He's the main fan and everything like that. And he's got a huge following. He does the right thing about that. E3 needs to find the right balance and also sort out your security systems and don't have an idiot walk into the bathroom filming people.
Yep.
Don't have that.
And it's also, stupid. While we're on the subject of stupid things the ESA did last year, don't. I mean, there was the banning of Greg Miller.
I don't even know. Did he get that sorted?
Yeah, he did get that sorted.
Did he?
Yeah, he got banned because somebody was using his pass on like the last part of it was the last day. He'd gone. He'd left. He didn't have he just left. And yeah, I remember. Like basically, it was a bit of a shit show last year.
Last year was not a good E3.
No.
Last E3 was not a good E3 whatsoever. No. I think if you were a Microsoft fan, it was brilliant. But I think other than that, it was nothing.
Like, as someone who was like, I sat down at the 2019 predictions and predicted that E3, like Microsoft's E3 show, was going to be amazing. Just to paraphrase, but it was okay. It was good. It was solid, and I don't know, like, it's like Justice League, the movie. Justice League movie was okay, but it needed to be better than okay. And I feel like with Microsoft Show, it was solid. I think it needed to be better than that to really stand out. There's nothing wrong with it. But, like, thinking of E3 2020, you're right, it needs to change in some way. I don't know whether, like, just not making it a fan event will work. It's like the genie's out of the bottle now. in terms of like people can go to the show. So now it's like if you suddenly stop people going to the show, that might have a more adverse negative effect. I think what they need to do is they need to talk to all of the people who have pulled out of the show. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and EA, and whoever else may just... I remember Konami.
Nintendo, really? Because they don't really do anything there.
I mean, they do the direct.
They have a floor
space. And they have a floor space, but they have a floor space at EGX. Like, they have floor spaces everywhere. They need to talk to them. They need to make... I'm wondering if they need to make E3 in some kind of... So it's not necessarily a thing that all takes place in one convention center, but it's like a banner. So, like, Microsoft do their thing out of the Microsoft Theater, and Nintendo do their thing out of whatever, and X, Y, Z. And maybe it all still happens in Los Angeles. Maybe it happens remotely. But just to have, like, it's like an E3 event. So you have the week where it's an event. PlayStation will do a PSX or a State of Play. Nintendo will do a Direct, and Microsoft will do their press conference, and EA will do whatever fucking crazy shit EA are going to do, and Ubisoft will have their thing, and Square will have theirs, Bethesda, and maybe have, like, Devolver Digital. As long as they keep doing things, we're all good.
Don't ruin my Devolver Digital.
I fucking love that thing. It's so fucking good. But, like, yeah, I think it needs to change, and I don't really have an answer on how it could change. But I'm reading this report and I'm thinking this isn't the way to do it. Because one of the things that makes E3 so big these days is how big a show it is for people who aren't there. Like us being able to watch all of these press conferences and then it's for me it's a ritual of sitting down, looking through GameSpot schedule, Twitch's schedule, IGN's schedule, and just going, okay, cool, I want to watch this game and these developers and this developers and then this and this and this, and then just like spending like 3 days just talking, like seeing all this cool shit. That to me, that's what makes E3 great. And then I'm looking at this where it says the solution is to shake things up with surprise guests, amazing stage experiences, access to insiders, and experimental zones. I don't think that's going to do anything. It might be great for
surprise guest sounds like sorry for putting in.
No?
Surprise guest sounds like celebrities.
Yeah.
The thing that didn't work at the video games awards were the celebrity part.
Yeah.
Where everyone's like, "Oh, why are you here? For God's sake!" No one wants that. Yes, there's no doubt about it. The biggest standout for Microsoft's conference last year was Keanu Reeves, but he's in the game, so it's understandable he was there. But if you're going to get random celebrities who are I'm not saying they aren't gamers or anything like that, but who are just not in a game or anything like that, we don't want you there.
Yeah.
At all. If you're there to like enjoy yourself, play some games, that's fine. But we don't want you there to be showing off and everything like that. We want to see the games, we want to see the developers and everything. That's what the main thing is. And I think studios and like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo need to start really getting into the part of where they are showing off the developers more than the celebrities. And they need to really sort that out, I think, personally.
Yeah. It's like I'm thinking back to like the biggest the coolest moments of E3 are one, always the surprising game reveals. Like Resident Evil 2 remake 2 years ago. I'll always remember that being a thing, and I was sitting on the sofa. It was 2:00 in the morning. Keith and Russell, we were doing the live stream, and I was just like, "Is this Resident Evil? This looks like Resident Evil. Maybe it's not Resident Evil." And then like you see Leon, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like 2:00 in the morning. Russell's wife's trying to sleep upstairs. We're all sitting on a sofa, and I just went fucking mental. I was like, "This is fucking Resident Evil! Oh my god!"
So the one for me was 2013 Z3 with Sony, with the reveal of Final Fantasy turning into Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts, all showing that, thinking games that we thought were dead, and they show them they're coming, and they are out now, people.
Yeah,
so
they're games,
which was just I don't even know how loud I was because I'm pretty sure I woke up my neighbor.
Well, it was like the year E3, and I know this is heavily focused on PlayStation. Sorry, PlayStation have generally had the biggest megatons at E3. Sorry. They opened with The Last Guardian, and then they also had Shenmue, and they had Final Fantasy, and then the year after, where it was like Kojima came out on stage, God of War opened their show, Spider-Man came out of nowhere. It's like, that's cool. Those are the things I remember. But there's also the stuff with the developers. So like, I'm thinking of EA when they got Martin Salin to come out and introduce Unravel for the first time, and it was like Twitter just explodes with like how because he was so nervous to be up on that stage, and it was good. It was like
Same for the Sea of Solitude developer.
yeah, Cornelia Geppert, like who made Sea of Solitude, who introduced it on stage, like Joseph Fares, who was the opposite, but he was so entertaining. And like stuff like that. So yeah, you're right. It is games and developers. Like Keanu was awesome at E3.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, cool, but like I think about other celebrity stuff. Like John Bernthal came out on stage at last E3, and it was just like
He stood there with a dog.
he stood there with his dog, which is cool. Like bring your dog, cool. But I don't remember what he said. I don't remember anything about that.
Because they didn't show anything of the game.
Exactly.
It was terrible, that. One of the biggest stands out for, especially for Ubisoft, was when they revealed Mario Rabbids. The developer was crying. And he was like, damn, that's...
Or the same year when Beyond Good and Evil 2, when they did the presentation for Beyond Good and Evil 2, and the guys went back behind the stage and they accidentally left their mics on. And you heard them being like, we did it. Like, that was awesome. And it was like, that's a good E3 moment. Do you know what's not? Bringing some rapper guy out to advertise Just Dance. All right, cool. Like, I don't care. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, like, yeah, I see where you're coming from. I don't know whether going backwards is the way, or whether they can like figure out how to adapt a bit more to this streaming thing. Like, I'm looking at this list of ESA members in front of me: Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, Bungie, EA, Epic, Microsoft, PlayStation, Ubisoft, Wizards. And obviously there's more on there, but like if they could get
and
all
four
of
them are technically not there.
Yeah, if they could get all of those companies to do their own presentations, do them from their own freaking lobbies if they want to, but like have it under sort of an E3 banner, so E3 becomes like leans more into the streaming side of things rather than being in a physical location.
Yeah.
Like, if Microsoft still want to use the Microsoft Center in LA to put on a big show and do all of the demos and stuff, then cool. Like, do that. But also have a show for E3 as, like, a banner for all this stuff. I think that... Whether that's a good idea or not, I have no idea. I'm still pretty sick. But, I don't know. It sounds better than experimental zones and surprise guests. Access to insiders.
Well, it sounds like to me when it comes to like surprise guests, obviously celebrities, but also thinking the big Twitch streamers out there, the ninjas and all like that. And that's not no offense, that's not what we want to see. They may be the it thing right now, but it's not what we want to see when it comes to these type of things. We want to see people, the developers. We want to see that. We want to see the games. We don't want to see.
Yeah, like I'd be very sad if E3 as we know it went away, to be replaced by something which is only of value to the people who are at E3.
Yeah. I think when we finally see whatever PlayStation are going to be doing this year, whatever their first thing is they're doing, like a reveal event or something, when we see that, well, I think we'll know. We'll know what we like. And we'll be like, that's what it's like. That's what's meant to be. Or no, that's not what we want, Sony. No, we don't want that. Go back, and everything. So I think we'll know. So I think by E3 we'll know what we want.
Yeah, which is cool. Like E3 is definitely going to be a thing at least in 2020. So looking forward to streaming it. It's a nice little ritual I have. I've been streaming E3 for like 6 years now. That's pretty crazy.
6 years.
I remember the first year we did it. We were watching the PC gaming show, and Russell's cat pissed on a bag in the corner. During the stream, he had to run off suddenly. He was just sat on the couch and he was just like, no, stop it. And he just ran off. And it was the most entertaining thing that happened at the PC gaming show.
PC game show is consistently bad.
It's getting better.
Consistent,
it was pretty good. Like, it was pretty okay last year. But yeah, that first one was terrible.
4 hours long, wasn't it?
So it was long. I'm sure it was like 3 hours long. And the AMD lady brought out a briefcase. And she was like, can't open this until I come back. And she didn't come back for like 2 hours. What's in the fucking briefcase, lady?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Let's move on. I could talk about E3 for days, I feel like. I love it.
I think we all could really.
This is a good one.
Just one final thing.
Yeah, sure.
How crazy is it that, say, 2013, we were probably all like, "What the hell is E3? Oh my god, this is E3! I must go. I want to go." End of generations now here, and we're just like,
Yeah.
I could skip it.
I could skip it.
How crazy is that?
That is pretty crazy. It's like,
7 years. It took 7 years.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
But it is that kind of thing where it's like, it is so much easier to cover it from here and to see everything from here. And then if I want to play a lot of the games that are shown off, I just go EGX in London.
Yeah. It's cheaper.
It's a hell of a lot cheaper than going to LA. Anyway, let's do the next one. Nintendo Switch passes 50 million sales milestone. This is from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who writes, Nintendo's hugely successful Switch console has now sold 52.48 million units worldwide since its release in March 2017. Switch sales in the 9 months ending 31st of December 2019 was 17.7 million, up 22.5% year on year, fueled by the launch of the Switch Lite model. Switch games have also been selling like hotcakes. In all best estimates, this means Switch has now pipped the hardware sales total of Microsoft's Xbox One, which launched in November 2013. Microsoft hasn't reported Xbox console sales figures for a few years, opting instead to track success via subscription numbers for Xbox Live and Game Pass. But games industry analysts now seem confident Switch has passed the 50 million milestone Xbox One is currently sitting on. Quote, according to our estimates, the Nintendo Switch passed the Xbox One in hardware shipments during the holiday quarter last year, trusted Deco Partners analyst Daniel Ahmad wrote last week. The Xbox One is not too far behind, but it's only taken Switch 34 months to achieve what the Xbox One did in 74. End quote. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of switches.
Crazy.
That's a lot of switches.
That's crazy. Yeah. It took them only 34 months to catch Microsoft.
I was wondering when it was going to happen because I figured it must be coming up. I thought it was going to be like halfway through this year. It'd be like, oh shit, like Switch is definitely outsold Xbox One. But no, apparently it's happened already.
So if we're going off right, it's what, there's 70 million behind PlayStation 4.
I mean, PS4 sold
120, aren't they?
Oh god, no! I think 120. They'd be the best-selling console of all time. Let me just double check. I was actually looking at this table like a week ago with some friends. Just like completely, someone just asked, "Oh, what's the best-selling console of all time?" And they were like, "You're you podcast about video games, Amy. You must know this answer off the top of your head." Like, no, of course I don't. Like, this is what I do. I podcast and I make documents and I look things up on while I'm recording because it's like, how the fuck am I supposed to remember? 106 million.
Oh, so wow, they're close to 110. Wow.
That's PS4. It's the 4th best-selling console of all time. Nintendo Switch is 52.48. It just passed the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Genesis, N64. It's right behind the NES and the 3DS. Damn. So PS4 is almost at the end of its life cycle. It's probably not going to be the best-selling console of all time. Just because of the PS5 and when it's going to come out. Because it's 106. The best-selling console of all time is 155 million. And that was the PS2. Right in front of the original DS, 154. And then the Game Boy was 118. Do you think Switch is going to be the best-selling console of all time?
No.
No? You don't think it's going to do more than 155 million?
I think they'll change within a couple of years.
Fair
Nintendo
enough.
Don't rest on their laurels.
This is true.
Like when they'll change it up, and
that is true. Like the Wii U, like it's like the strategy for like ditching the Wii U after only 4 years and releasing a brand new console shouldn't have worked. But they did it. They committed to it, and they did it like so perfectly that it did work.
For me, I can see him do probably like a Switch 2. So obviously that will start from zero again and everything. So no, I can't see the Switch doing it. I want to be surprised. I won't lie. Like, I want them to succeed
I
and
want
everything.
to believe.
Yeah, and everything. They're doing such a good job. They've got great games on it and everything, and like the great games. Hopefully, great games coming in the future and everything. So it's gonna be fascinating to see what they do.
Speaking of great Switch games, you're on. Can I just say you're on fire today with set me up with these segues.
Coughing to death, but I
Coughing to
keep it
death
going.
in between them. Speaking of great games, Pokemon Sword and Shield sold a phenomenal 16 million copies in under 2 months. This is from Ryan Craddock over at Nintendo Life, who writes, Nintendo released its 9 months earnings report, kindly sharing the latest official sales figures for us to explore, and one game in particular has absolutely blown us away. It has been confirmed that Pokemon Sword and Shield sold 16.06 million copies between launch day 15th of November 2019 and the 31st of December 2019. So around a month and a half. That is incredible. Let's compare that to some other games to really analyze just how impressive that is. For starters, the Switch's evergreen wonder, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, has sold 16.34 million copies since launching in March 2017. Pokemon almost beat that total in 46 days. Sword and Shield is also just 1 million sales away from catching Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's perhaps even more impressive when you look at past Pokemon games. It's comfortably outsold Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, which currently has 11.76 million lifetime sales, and is super close to outselling all the titles already. These are the official lifetime sales figures of Pokemon's last few generation introducing games. You ready for this? This is fucking mind blowing. So Pokemon Diamond and Pearl sold 17.67 million. Pokemon X and Y sold 16.44 million. Pokemon Sun and Moon sold 16.18 million. Pokemon Sword and Shield has sold 16.06 million after 46 days on sale. Pokemon Black and White only sold 15.64 million. Pokemon Sword and Shield by sometime in 2020 is going to be the best-selling Pokemon game of all time. By sometime in 2020, it might be the best-selling Switch game of all time. Like, wow. Wow. The boycott worked. That's for sure.
Boycotts work all the time, people.
Boycotts
You not know that? You say boycott, we say money.
Pokemon Company's just like, what? I can't hear you over the sound of all this money that's
all the
falling
money.
in. Just Scrooge McDuck in a fucking pile of money. Like, but I knew it was going to sell well because it was a Pokemon game. You were on our predictions results. You know I predicted it was going to sell well.
Yeah.
But even I didn't think it was going to be this good. It's like a few 100,000 sales behind Breath of the Wild. That game came out with the Switch. It's nearly 3 years old.
That's pretty impressive. There's no doubt about it. This is not surprising because everybody was excited for a Switch game, a proper Switch new area, new region for the Pokemon and everything. But yeah, people could bitch and moan, complain, all like they did. They did it so well that it's going to be poised the biggest selling game on the Switch by the end of the year.
Yeah, man.
They've got so cool. DLC coming out.
They do.
2 of them coming out throughout the year, which is only going to exponentially make it sell even more.
I think
they've got
it's because
that Pokemon. Go on.
Sorry, I think it's because I think the reason it's done so well is because it's on a home console. Because all the other games, and I know the DS and the 3DS are like sold amazingly well, but a lot of people don't buy handhelds who do buy home consoles. This is probably their first chance to play Pokemon, like the main series Pokemon, because it was my first. It's my first Pokemon game, Pokemon Sword, because I didn't own 3DS, so I never had a chance to play any Pokemons. I'd skipped Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee because I knew there was a full Pokemon game coming out, and I was like, I want my first Pokemon experience to be the big one,
the new one, yeah.
I think a lot of people probably did that, but I didn't realize so many people did that.
I agree. But on top of that, the whole going back to the boycott thing, it just tells you even more that that's a small amount of the internet, ladies and gentlemen, compared to billions of people on the planet.
Yeah, this
who literally wouldn't have heard a single flipping thing
about Dexter. No.
Yeah, wouldn't have heard a single freaking thing whatsoever. And they won't even care. Just think, oh, new Pokemon game. I like the last one. Good. That'll do me fantastic. Oh, I like the little bunny one. He looks so cute. And everything. That's how all it is. People don't care at all. And it's just proven once and for all. Your boycotts do nothing. Oh, let's boycott Star Wars. $1 billion later. Oh, let's boycott this. $1 billion later. Shut up, man.
I mean,
seriously.
Let's boycott Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 was the 4th best-selling game of 2019.
Thank you again. Yes, just that. Oh, let's boycott Epic Games. It's the whole thing. People play on it. They've just released their sales and things. People are on it. They're doing it. They're on it, man. Oh, yes. See, you're one of the problems, Amy. I knew it.
I've got Steam, Uplay, Origin, Epic Games, and the Twitch Games launcher. And you know what? I have no problem switching between them when I need to play The Division.
Well, like I said to everybody I spoke to, saying you're not going to have a problem with it, and you're not. Stop complaining. Yes, I can appreciate it may not be the best user interface compared to Steam or anything like that. I can appreciate that, but you're still going to go on it and play it.
Hell yeah. So while you've been talking about that, I have been trying to find out if there's a sales number of let me try that again. If I can find the number of copies of Call of Duty Modern Warfare are sold. Because 16 million is a big number. And I'm wondering if combined Sword and Shield was actually
big combined. Yeah.
Combined. I'm wondering if Sword and Shield was the best-selling game of the year. Because obviously it wasn't on the top 10 when we did the MPTs last week before, but that's because it's two separate SKUs.
Yeah.
I'm so curious. That's Modern Warfare 3. I think Sword and Shield probably would have been like one of the top games combined. It's a shame they don't combine them when they're reporting their sales figures like they do this. Anyway, couldn't find the answer. I might research it.
It'll be fascinating. Eventually that'll come out. Yeah. It'll eventually come out, so. Jason Snyder, let's tweet at him right now and say, yo, dude, do your job.
Yo, it's your girl. One more news story. The discourse.
You're ready for this one.
The discourse around this game has been incredibly surprising. Warcraft 3 Reforged EULA gives Blizzard total ownership of all custom games. This is from Rebecca Valentine over at GamesIndustry.biz, who writes, if you're a custom game creator for the original Warcraft 3 who's preparing to move your creations to the newly released Reforged remake, you'd better study up on the changes to the game's end-user license agreement, specifically the acceptable use policy for custom games. As spotted by PC Gamer, Blizzard has updated its custom game acceptable use policy to give itself complete ownership of all custom games. Quote, custom games are and shall remain the sole and exclusive property of Blizzard, reads the section. Without limiting the foregoing, you hereby assign to Blizzard all of your rights, title, and interest in and to all custom games, including but not limited to any copyrights in the content of any custom games, end quote. It's likely that the motivation behind this desire to avoid a repeat of what happened with Valve's Dota 2, the sequel to Warcraft 3 custom game called Defense of the Ancients. The original game was created in 2003 and underwent regular updates for years, while its management changed hands multiple times. Its ownership eventually fell into the hands of a developer who was hired by Blizzard in 2009 to make a standalone sequel, Dota 2. Blizzard contested the trademark but ultimately settled to let Valve have Dota 2 and rebrand its own version into Blizzard All-Stars. Blizzard, and the fact that I've definitely not heard of that says how well that went for Blizzard. Blizzard's new EULA appears to be a safeguard against any future popular custom games getting away from them in a similar way. The policy has other clauses limiting the reach of custom games as well, including a prohibition on making games for profit and on including third-party content that might violate IP rights. Unlike the ownership clause, both of these are fairly standard to most EULAs. For games with player-created content, though the former effectively bars the recreation of some of the more famous Warcraft 3 mods. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. When I found out Warcraft 3 Reforged was coming out at the end of January, I was like, that's a slam dunk for Blizzard. Everybody loves Warcraft 3. It's a Stone Cold classic. Like, there's no way they can fuck it up. Like, I didn't think there was any. I was going to come out. Everybody's going to love it. Everybody's going to love playing a remade version of Warcraft 3, and it would be fine. And here I am, 5 days after launch, and it's a garbage fire. Did you know that? And then I'm going to let you speak. Sorry, but did you know? I found this out just before we started recording. Warcraft 3 Reforged has the all-time lowest Metacritic user score.
Yes.
The lowest Metacritic user score of all time. 0.5.
Oh, that was close.
It's on. It's been dropping. I've been watching it all week. Because it started out something like 3.8 when I first saw it, and it's now on to 0.5. It's like 18,000 people have rated it on Metacritic. What are your thoughts on this, Mr. Mooney?
Blizzard. Okay, I just want to say, I'm not a Warcraft guy. I'll say this right now, complete open book here. I'm not a Warcraft guy. Never played the game. Just not interesting to me. It's not my type of thing or anything. But then 9 times out of 10, you hear people who are into it really enjoy it. It's always at least consistently good and everything. However, they released the old version of it last year, which was trending and people were loving it and everything. Then not a year. Why say year?
Damn you, yeah.
Then Blizzard decided to do the whole debacle with their Hearthstone thing and China and last year. And they came out and apologized. And a lot of people are very mixed on the apologies. Like people, like I think even you said you don't believe the apology. If I remember rightly, I might be wrong there. But I said, they've apologized. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I said it on this podcast. I remember saying it on this podcast.
You said it to me because we talked about it for 5 fucking weeks, Mooney.
No, that's true. Like, yeah. I said, we've got to give them the benefit of the doubt here and everything. Yeah, not yeah again. Blizzard.
Yeah.
We're only into the second day of the second month, and you've already fucked yourself up.
I mean,
what the hell were you thinking? You complete and utter morons. Why? You're not helping yourself whatsoever. And Activision, you ain't helping the situation either. And this is now, no doubt about it, I can only imagine what people are thinking for their up-and-coming games, Diablo 4 and everything. To see what the piss-poor reception and piss-poor job they've done for this, how much of this a piss-poor job are they going to do with those games and everything, and what are they going to lock you down on and everything, and so and whatnot. You're just not helping yourselves, Activision and Blizzard here. You're not doing a good job, and you need to sort yourselves out. You need to. You are hurting yourself by hurting the player base. The people who brought you to be over 1 million people playing at one time or subscribed. You had it was over 10 million, wasn't it? At one time.
Yeah, it would have been something around about that. Like
you had millions of people subscribed at one time. Yes, it has been going down, which always happens. It tips, you peak and you always go down, and you find your balance. And you just seem like, I want to lower the number even more. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to piss people off. You literally decided on New Year's Day when you were popping a little bit of the bubbly. You went, how can we piss people off in less than a month?
We could release Warcraft 3 Reforged unfinished and with none of the things that we promised for the release of the game. I'm reading some of not the user reviews because I'm reading some of the critics' reviews on Metacritic, like, the summaries that they have. It doesn't sound great. I'm like you. Like, I love Warcraft 2 and 3, like, back in the day. I had no interest in Warcraft 3 Reforged, like, from the moment they announced it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was led to believe it was a full top-to-bottom remake of the game. And then it wasn't. and I was just like, oh, maybe I just was misremembering what they said about the game. But I'm reading like the summaries on these reviews, and I'm like, maybe I'm not misremembering what they said about the game, because I'm reading this WCCF Tech review, which is actually the most positive one on Metacritic. They got a 70. They gave it a 75. This release is sadly riddled with bugs, as well as marred by the terrible decisions of Blizzard, particularly that of the false advertising that persists now even after launch. That's and that's the most positive critic review on Metacritic.
The thing that annoys me is this isn't the developers' fault, the people who are creating this game. This is Activision and Blizzard. They're the ones who, they know this game was broken. And I bet the developers, the QA testers, the whole team were literally telling the game's not ready. You can't throw this out. You're going to get a backlash. And then you're going to be demanding us to crunch like crazy to get this into a working state as soon as possible. And that's what sadly is what's going to happen. We all know this, and the whole shebang with them. And that's just, it's terrible to think that. It really is. We talked about last week when I said about crunching, where I said when I spoke to two developers who I've gotten to know, who say crunch is turned into a bad thing. Sometimes there's crunch, sometimes there isn't. Now, but you're guaranteeing because of what's happening, they're going to be crunching like crazy to try and get this game into some sort of fit state.
Yeah.
And Activision Blizzard have done this to themselves.
Oh, 1000%. Like, but it's not them. It's like Activision Blizzard aren't the ones who are gonna be punished for this. Like, it'll be the employees who probably knew the game wasn't finished.
Yeah.
Which is according.
They would have been telling them. They would have said, "This is not optimized, people."
According to a few of these like reviews, I'm going down a bit of a rabbit hole. Like, I'm fascinated by this like whole shebang. Like, the game was buggy, unfinished, and apparently they've scaled back like a ton of. So basically, there was. Do you know what it reminds me of? Aliens, Colonial Marines. It reminds
me
of.
Why brought that game up? Why?
Because it reminds me of the vertical. It's like, the first trailer, which looked amazing, and then comparing that to what came out, and this feels like a similar sort of thing, where it's like.
So Randy Pitchford's been involved.
Yeah, probably. So he probably left a USB drive lying around, but that's what it feels like. It like just reading through these reviews, and again, like. I haven't played it. I'm not going to play it. I haven't seen any watched any videos or anything for it, but it certainly sounds like there was this is what we're going to make, and then this is what we've actually made, and it's like it's not the same thing. It's like two different things.
Yeah. And
it's like it's one thing for Randy Pitchford, who we all know's a dick, to do that. But we're talking about Blizzard. Like weren't they supposed to be one of the most well-respected developers in video games? And now all of a sudden they're just not.
It makes the apology that they did in BlizzCon. The guy says, judge us on your actions. All right, we're going to judge you for this. And you're going to get judged badly. You knew this game was broken. And you knew it was. And so you're just going to get your asses kicked now. It really is. I'll say one thing. I don't agree with review bombing. I don't like it. I'm just thinking that's unfair on the developers and everything. But I understand it's a political statement that the company, basically Activision and Blizzard, to say, "Yo, get your shit together," or this is what's going to happen. But
agreed on that front.
They haven't dug their grave. They just keep on digging the one they already got themselves in with the last thing that what happened with them. So they just keep burying themselves.
This has been ongoing probably since even before Blitzchung. Blitzchung was a thing. Yeah. Because we started 2019 with in fact, we might have been in the end of 2018 when Jason Schreier wrote the piece about people were worried that Activision was asserting more and more influence over Blizzard and changing the company culture. And now it's like we're in the beginning of 2020, like just over a year removed from that article, and I look back on everything that's happened surrounding Blizzard for the past year and a bit, and it's like, yeah, that tracks.
Blizzard, it's Activision.
This is Activision. The Activision part of the Activision Blizzard title is becoming more and more prominent every time something seems to happen.
Basically, they're overlords.
It kind of sucks. I mean, Blizzard would never have never have announced Overwatch 2 like last year.
Oh yeah, they didn't want to do that at all.
No,
They didn't want to do an Overwatch 2, man. They just wanted to keep on updating the game, throwing in new characters on the original game they got out already, selling bonkers and doing amazing in esports.
And then, like 10 years down the line, maybe we're doing a sequel. Oh well, it's a shame. Let's do games out this week, and then get the hell out of here.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Games out this week. Zombie Army 4 Dead War is coming out on February 4th on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Also on February 4th, Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game 3 on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia. And The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics is coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. On February 5th, The Blind Prophet comes out on PC. And on February 6th, Kunai comes out on PC and Switch. Moody, we played a game last week. It hasn't gone well. That game, guess the OpenCritic score. Last week, we tried to guess the OpenCritic score of Warcraft 3 Reforged. Guess what?
You won.
I won, but OpenCritic doesn't have enough scored reviews on it right now to give us a number. So we can do one of two things. We can do one of two things. We can use the Metacritic score, the critic score, not the 0.5 user score. Or we can wait until OpenCritic updates and see next week what the actual result was. But considering I guessed 87 and you guessed 90, I'm pretty sure I won that one.
I'm just going to say you won, okay?
Okay, that's fair enough.
You won that one.
Just for the sake of argument, the Metacritic average is 63. We were both so far away.
Yeah.
I can't believe we did this. So this week I want us to guess the OpenCritic score of Zombie Army 4 Dead War. What do you think?
73.
73. I don't after you know what? My confidence in being able to predict these things is taking a real beating after last time. But I am going to go with 78.
Oh, well, I'm going off what the trilogy's done.
That's smart.
Trilogy isn't high. The trilogy isn't high, I won't lie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sequels get better and better over time. Just ask Mass Effect.
1 was good, 2 was brilliant, 3 was brilliant, and that's it.
And that's the entire series.
Yeah, that trilogy story was done, so it's all good.
Yeah,
and Andromeda was a fun start.
Andromeda was a fun experiment.
After they fixed it.
That's it for episode 191 of the Words About Gamescast. I'm going to go and rest my throat. I'm going to let Mr. Moody go and rest his throat. Because, again, don't judge us for this episode. We're both very sick.
Yeah, you can judge me. I don't mind.
Yeah, fuck it. I don't care either. They can't all be amazing.
Yeah. They cannot always be amazing.
But they so frequently are when you're here. It comes through very inconsistently through the microphone. So
of course it does.
Sometimes it just looks like you're just miming.
Of course it does. God damn it. I'll have to pick a different song.
I think you've got another. I think that we could stretch out Toss a Coin to Your Witcher for the entire year.
Yeah, until season 2 comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for the entire 2020. I think
I can do that.
And then whatever Jaskier's next banger is in season 2, it'll all start over again.
Toss a coin for Yennefer. Oh, Valley.
Toss a coin at Yennefer. Let's be fair, they don't like each other very much. No, you know what'll happen?
Yeah, they're going to be fine at the end of that.
You know what'll happen? something will happen in E3, because I remember Country Roads was like an anthem here for like 6 months after E3. Even though Fallout 76 was bad, like we heard it during our streams like 20 times.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the year, it was just like Country Roads, take me home.
God damn you, Bethesda!
Why wasn't it good? It could have been good, but you rushed it. Why is everybody rushing their games? Stop it!
Stop doing it!
You were the chosen one. No, we don't have to go down that road.
Really?
No. They were at one point. Fucking Skyrim came out in 2010. Like, they were untouchable. Like, there's a point in history where BioWare, Blizzard, Bethesda, they were all like the shit. They were all untouchable.
Started good in the generation and it ended the generation badly.
And now they're all fucking... And now they're just all the worst. Like, kind of... Yeah.
I've just recently rewatched the PlayStation 4 reveal. I always go back to it because it was just a brilliant reveal. And I remember... Excuse me.
It's fine.
When Blizzard came on at the end, and I'm singing, God damn. I remember those days. Diablo 3 was such a good game, especially on console. I couldn't believe how great it was on console. And now you fucked yourselves over, Blizzard. Well done, Blizzard.
I remember, while we're talking about reveals, I remember the PS4 Pro, I remember watching the PS4 Pro reveal event purely because they had Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay. And I was like,
yeah.
Wow, remember a time when we were all really excited for the launch of Mass Effect Andromeda?
Mm-hmm.
I was never excited for Anthem. There's video evidence. You can go back and see my reaction to the first fucking reveal of Anthem, where I was like, "The fuck's this? I don't want this."
Mm-hmm. There's no video of evidence for me, so you just have to believe me.
I believe you, Moody. I believe you. We're on the same wavelength. Me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that is going to do it for episode 100. Nice little tangent to end the show. Said by Mr. Moody.
Bye, Mr. Moody.
I just realised no one's dabbed yet.
Oh, no. I forgot. Toss a coin.
I don't have one. Oh. If I had a coin within arm's reach, I'll toss a beauty blender. There you go. Bing.